We're back with the Allied Rivals podcast. It's been a minute since we've done an NFL video since we've been so busy with NBA stuff in the finals. Yeah. But free agency is passed. The NFL is just a couple of weeks away, and we just got the pleasure of watching the most boring game in football history, a.k.a. the Hall of Fame game. So let's start asking some big questions for the teams in the NFC. I'm A.J. Herschel. That's Caedmon Bauer. How you guys doing? This is the Allied Rivals podcast. What's going on, Caedmon?
It is. Not a whole ton. I guess I just got back from Wisconsin today.
Nice.
And got a quick swim in before doing this. But
fun.
Yeah, man, I'm just looking forward to the NFL.
I know. It's crazy. It is blowing my mind. We're only a couple of weeks away. Makes no sense to me.
It might be me, but I can't hear you.
Seriously? I think my audio is coming in okay, but I'll go ahead and check the live stream as well, figure out what's going on. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I think that's you.
You're good? All right. I'll go out for a second.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the epitome of great YouTube quality content, apparently. Internet problems. But basically today we're going to be talking about the NFL and basically a bunch of big questions each of the teams have to answer. Porter Drinks already in the comment section. What is up, my dude? Good to see you back. Gotta say, hate saying go Packers, but other than that, glad to have you with us. Caedmon's back. You good?
Back. Yeah, I'm back. I'm good.
All right, we're good. Just saying hey to Porter Drinks. Checking into our comment section. We're going to be asking big questions for NFL teams in the NFC today. We're going to be doing AFC later in the week. But, yeah, that's what we're doing so far. Caedmon, you ready to just jump right into it?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Let's do it. So, Caedmon, you can choose what division are we starting with here?
Let's do the NFC East.
Oh, this is going to be fun. The NFC East was notoriously the worst division in all of football last year. So bad that it was just painful. Watching the two of them was just so painful. So painful.
Mm-hmm.
High school football is better. Porter Drinks got a suggestion. He says, let's go ahead and start with the Eagles. Why not? So Caedmon, Philadelphia Eagles, and he brings up what the question is. How confident are we that Jalen Hurts is going to be the starter for Philadelphia? How confident are you in his ability to start week 1, Caedmon?
I think he definitely has the ability. I mean, I think he's had another off season to really get some more reps and stuff. And last year he showed us that he can both throw and run when needed. So I feel like he's a good fit for the Eagles right now. I feel like because they don't have they don't really have a super dynamic passing game right now. But they don't really have an amazing back core. So
yeah, I mean they do have Miles Sanders. Let's give him some credit.
Yeah, but you don't really have a good steady 3 you can trust on. So he's kind of their third back, and I think he'd be a good one to start with. What do you think?
Wait. Say it again. Who would be a good one to start with? Third back? What do you mean?
No, sorry. I mean, Jalen Hurts would be a good quarterback to start.
Gotcha. All right, fair enough. Yeah. Porter Drinks saying that Jalen Hurts is going to have a good year, held back by a horrible coach, and also they got Devonta Smith, which is true.
It's true.
I like Hurts. I mean, I had the pain of watching him get to play Georgia multiple times in college, so I know what kind of skill he's had. He's probably the most electric quarterback, no offense to Carson Wentz, but the most electric quarterback that they have since Michael Vick. And in terms of offense, he's got some weapons around him still. You still have Zach Ertz, who hasn't been traded away. You still have Dallas Goedert. You got Miles Sanders, who's very, very good, very underrated. And if he goes out, Boston Scott is, in my opinion, the most underrated second-string back in football. The Eagles' offensive line has been injury-prone, decent at best. but he has been absolutely incredible when he comes in. And the wide receiver core now is Devonta Smith along with Jalen Reagor, who should take another step forward in year one. So I don't think it's the lack of weapons that's going to have Hurts, but it is going to be a little bit different. You're coming in, new system, new coach. I think it'll take a couple weeks for the Eagles to get going. But this is a division they can absolutely win. This is not the hardest division in football. His defense definitely is aging. It ain't great, but I think Hurts is going to have a fine year, and I think he'll do all right. The Eagles did a decent job of putting some people around him for a first full season.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm. And I also see over here Porter Drinks dropping out Alshon Jeffrey. And, if we remember for the last 3 years, he's maybe been healthy for 5 games, and he's also a free agent right now. He's not on the Eagles roster. But is the Eagles defense any good, he asks?
There's a lot of veteran players, but they're not – they're nowhere near –
they're getting old.
Yeah, they're just not good.
I mean, their front four, I would say, is pretty good. You've got Derek Barnett, Fletcher Cox, arguably top 5. Fletcher Cox top 5 when he's healthy. They signed Ryan Kerrigan to a 1-year deal, but their secondary is not great. They signed Anthony Harris and Darius Slay, but both of them are aging. It's an old defense that I just don't think is going to keep up with a lot of other teams in the NFL.
Yeah, for real.
Moving on, New York Giants. Wow, this team was really weird last year and still almost made the playoffs with a 6-10 record. Caedmon, what do they need to change to try to win the division? They had a good offseason, went out and got Kenny Golladay. Saquon's going to be back. What needs to change here?
Well, how about the quarterback? I mean,
ouch!
I don't
for the throat here.
Still don't trust Daniel Jones.
Wow.
But, I think the Giants' defense would have been good enough to hold up if they would have had a better quarterback. I mean, Saquon Barkley, he's going to be healthy, so that's going to be nice. That'll help out Daniel Jones a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Then the receiving core will be better this year.
It's ridiculous.
So, I mean, that's going to be great for Daniel Jones, but it's not going to matter if he can't get the ball to the receivers. So then it's just going to be Saquon Barkley game, and he can carry an offense. I mean, not as much as probably when he's healthy, for real. I think the defense is good enough right now. I think the big thing would be get a quarterback.
Wow. Yeah, I don't really know what the Giants are going to do with the quarterback situation. I mean, Daniel Jones isn't the worst quarterback ever, but he's also not great, and now they have Mike Glennon backing him up. But like you said, their defense is really, really good. Jabril Peppers, they signed Adoree Jackson, Logan Ryan, one of the best safeties in the league. They drafted Azeez Ojulari, one of my favorite players in the draft. Absolute monster of a linebacker from Georgia. They have Lorenzo Carter. They still have Blake Martinez, who's a tackle stopper. So yes, their defense is stacked. Their receiving core isn't bad. Evan Ingram. They signed Kyle Rudolph. They have Kenny Golladay, Darius Slayton. So they have. I feel like this is another Eagles situation. It's not stellar by any means. I wouldn't consider it like anywhere near Packers, Buccaneers, any of their receiving core, but it's good. So I think I don't know if I think at this point Daniel Jones has to play like a Jared Goff type role. Be good enough to help your team forward. The lack of a Giants run game was definitely a problem, but they worked on the offensive line. Be good enough to get your team to the playoffs. That's what I think. Yeah.
And I was just thinking about their defense, and I don't think they really lost anyone on their starting 11. Maybe one, but at least what I'm looking at, they have at least 9 guys back on their starting 11 for defense. So that's really nice for Daniel Jones, and they're only going to get better because especially near the end of the year, they were really finding their stride on defense, getting a lot of stops. But, man, I think you said it right about Daniel Jones, Jared Goff type player. But, we'll see, man.
Yeah, definitely. Porter Drink saying Daniel Jones is not on the move and they should sign Eli Manning out of retirement.
Do it. This might be the roster for him. This might be the roster for him. I mean, this would be a stacked receiving core, a running back, and, I mean, he never had this good of a
2 tight ends. 2 great tight
Yeah.
ends. Well, Ingram when he's healthy, but yeah. And yeah, well, okay. Manning did have good defenses during his Super Bowl runs. Let's remember Michael
That's true.
Strahan, Jason Pierre-Paul. They had, when they were 2010, 2012, their defense was incredible. Lightning Bauer in the comments says, hi, guys. Hi, Lightning Bauer.
Lightning Bauer.
Good to see you. Let us know what you think about the NFC East as well. Caedmon, let's try to breeze through a couple of these. Dallas Cowboys, they're getting Dak Prescott back. They're getting Zeke back. So
Cowboys
what do they do to improve on their defense? Their defense was the worst part last year.
Dude, yeah, they're getting so overhyped. It's like everyone's like, oh, the Cowboys are going to beat the Buccaneers week 1, which they could.
No.
But
no.
I doubt it. I mean, it's week 1. Anything can happen, but I doubt it. And then everyone's like, Cowboys are maybe Super Bowl contenders. And then you see all these power rankings that are putting them way too high. Like, they're not even a top 10 team. We don't even know how Prescott's going to play. Their defense was horrible. Yeah, they need to make their defense better. Can they? I don't know. Yeah, AJ, take this one away.
Oh, man, this is definitely a weird one. Their offense, if Dak stays healthy, is going to be electric. We all know that. They've got a great receiving core. Zeke and Pollard are great. But their defense is still rough. Congratulations. You got Malik Hooker and Jalen Smith.
Yay.
And Leighton Vander Esch is hopefully going to be healthy. Keanu Neal is fine when he's healthy. I mean, I feel like they just try to patch up some holes in their defense. I mean, even with Sean Lee gone, I just don't see their defense being great. I think this is going to be a really similar year to last year.
Yeah.
Where they just couldn't stop anybody. I think it's going to be rough. Moving on, Washington football team. One of the craziest stories out of last year. Finished the year on a roll. Killed the Steelers' perfect season. Caedmon, what does Washington need to do to make a real playoff run this year?
Yeah, I mean, their defense should be, I don't know, a top 3 defense is what I'm thinking when I look at their roster. Quarterback's always a big thing because even if you have the best receivers and your quarterback stinks, it doesn't matter. So just get that flowing, the Washington football team's offense just needs to improve a little bit everywhere. Like last year, receiving, it was like Terry McLaurin, and that was it. And running the ball, don't get me started on that. And then
Antonio Gibson, he was almost 1,000-yard runner last year.
My bad. My bad. I don't know how I forgot that.
Sorry.
But then you had quarterback problems last year. Taylor Heineke was he got him through.
He got
him through. But I don't know if they're gonna make a huge run with Taylor Heineke. So
they got Fitzmagic though. They got Fitzmagic.
I know. Can they make? Okay, this is what Judah always says, right? From Roto Hackers, either you get Magic or a pumpkin, right?
That's exactly right.
AJ, which are we going to see? That's he's going to determine whether they make a playoff run or not. The defense is good enough. Antonio Gibson, I'm sorry I forgot you, Antonio. Antonio Gibson is really good, and I mean Fitzpatrick doesn't necessarily have the best receiving core, but it's good enough to get by and make a run. I mean, Terry McLaurin leading that. So that's – are we going to get the pumpkin, AJ?
I don't know. It is anybody's game at this point, anybody's guess. Maybe we should have like a game show, like Pumpkin Watch or something, and just try to predict what's going to happen this year. I do think Logan Thomas is going to have a big year. He came out of absolutely nowhere, quarterback turned tight end, almost at 1,000 yards with rotating quarterbacks. I think he'll have a good year, but I think you're right. Definitely hinges on Fitzpatrick. Let's go ahead and move on. NFC North. Let's go ahead and get this out of the way with our teams. Reported Drinks and Lightning Bauer in the comments. Cade, Lions first. Is this a tank year for the Detroit Lions?
Oh, man, it could be. And, I mean, if you don't start the season off well, might as well just tank. I mean, Jared Goff, everyone's saying Matthew Stafford's a huge upgrade for the Rams. So, I mean, if Jared Goff doesn't work out, then it might be time to tank.
Mm-hmm. I think it's time to. I think it's time to tank straight up. They have DeAndre Swift and they have T.J. Hawkinson. Those are people that are going to need deals in a couple of years. So why not get them some support while you can? Their offensive line. They got Penei Sewell and Frank Ragnow, and that's it. And then their wide receiving core is basically the people in Madden you get when you start Madden Ultimate Team for the first time. Rashad Perriman, Quintez Cephas, who has the coolest name, and he's not bad for the wide receiver who's sitting at third string on the Lions, but I think this should be a tank year for them. They don't have a lot of stuff on defense. Their offense is absolutely ripped to shreds. I think this definitely needs to be a tank year for them, in my opinion. And Caedmon disappeared. I'm going to go ahead and open with the Minnesota Vikings then while he's gone. And I feel like the big thing for them, they are in a tough division. So I think the big question for the Vikings is, what do they need to do to not blow a playoff opportunity last year? It took them a couple weeks to find their stride. They upset a couple of teams, but by the time they reached the end of the season, they plateaued once again. I think Cousins, I think he's fine. I think Justin Jefferson, obviously, is great. Thielen is great. And then, of course, their offensive line isn't bad. And you have Dalvin Cook. But I think another problem, similar to the Philadelphia Eagles, is that their defense is aging. Patrick Peterson, Xavier Woods, as much as I love Harrison Smith, he's not getting any younger either. Eric Kendricks and Danielle Hunter aren't getting younger. This is a team that I feel like is trapped 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I think this defense absolutely rules and is one of the best defenses in football. 5 years later, I don't see them holding up. Especially, I mean, they have a chance to get the 7th seed, especially if the Bears start tailing off near the end of the year. But in my opinion, I think this is not going to be a good year for the Minnesota Vikings. Their defense is going to have to shock me. Their offense is going to have to get going as soon as they can. But I just don't see this being a good year for the Vikes. Caedmon still is not back yet. Don't know where he is. So I don't think he wants to miss out on the Bears and the Packers. And here he is. He's back. We all good?
Yeah, I'm so sorry, man. My headphones do not like me.
No worries, dude.
I'm gonna see if it'll work. If my audio's sounding really bad, tell me, and I can try to fix it. But
all right, no, you good. I just gave a mini rant about how I don't believe the Vikings are going to be that good. Thoughts?
Yeah, they won't. Next team.
All right, next team. It's your Packers, Cade.
Sweet.
After a lot of offseason drama, Rodgers is back at practice. This is probably going to be Adams' last run, is what it's looking like. What is there anything they need to do different from last year? I mean, they got a couple of receivers in free agency. They're not world beaters, but it definitely helps buff their receiving core, especially over Marquez Valdes-Scantling. You know, I don't have the highest opinion of him. Re-sign Aaron Jones, lost one or two people on defense, and re-signed Kevin King. What do they need to do differently?
Okay, so a big thing is we got a defensive coordinator, Joe Barry, who hopefully does a lot better than Mike Pettin, because he just did not work out. So we got Eric Stokes, and because Kevin King, if you didn't know, has not been
my boy Eric Stokes
training camp. So it looks like Eric Stokes will be starting across from Jair. So
let's go. I mean, I feel bad cheering for a Packers player, but that's my Georgia boy right there.
Yeah, I know.
You knew how hyped half hyped I was.
Yeah, so that's gonna be nice. We're gonna have a really good secondary. It looks like linebacking core should look good. Our defensive line is gonna look. I don't think anything changed. Kenny Clark is great. The rest, you'd never heard of him.
Yeah.
And that's how it's going to be. Packers offense should be one of the best in the league this year. It's really, can our defense hold up? Because it seemed like last year there were a bunch of times when it was like our offense was just so good, but it was just trading back and forth scores. So it was just the worst. So
yeah,
it's all on our defense, in my opinion. Could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, you're the expert on this. You know how excited I am for Eric Stokes. I'm so hyped for him going into this next year. I think the defense should be really good. I think there's definitely going to be a little bit of regression just due to the natural state of how well defenses play, like from year to year. But Zadarius Smith should still be great. Jair Alexander's still going to be great. The wide receiving core, I think, is better. I'm much better like Adams, Lazard, Randall Cobb, and Devin Funchess than Adams, Lazard, MVS, and Equanimous St. Brown, who granted is the coolest name in all of football. But honestly, I think it's just execute better in clutch moments, in my opinion. I think the Packers are a really great team. Just a couple of slip-ups that tanked them last year. Then we get to my Bears. Cade, the biggest question, obviously, for the Bears, when do you play Justin Fields?
Over Andy Dalton, right?
Yeah. We've already announced Dalton's going to be week 1 starter. When do you play Fields? When does he go in?
Yeah. Andy Dalton's doing great. Just keep him in the whole season. But if he's I don't know, if the Bears start 0-3 or just are looking terrible, then you put him in at week 4 if Andy Dalton's just stinking up the Bears. Especially if their defense is doing super good, running back game is working, and then you take Dalton out and put Fields in. But if Dalton is firing the offense and really making it work, then I'd say keep him in as long as you can.
Yeah, I think best case scenario, this works out like an Alex Smith, Patrick Mahomes type deal, where Alex Smith, Andy Dalton plays well. If he's injured, banged up or something, you send in Fields, get him a couple plays every now and then, see how he goes. And that, I think, would be ideal, even if we don't win. I'm not expecting us to win the Super Bowl this year, but even if we don't necessarily get that far, at least Fields got a year of NFL experience being able to watch, because a lot of quarterbacks who get thrown in year 1 doesn't necessarily end well. So, and we have a tough schedule to start the year, too. We get the Rams and the Browns in 2 of our first 3 weeks. So we're going to get put through the ringer. David Montgomery's going to be good. We reworked our offensive line. I hope Tevin Jenkins is going to be healthy by the time we get to the beginning of the season. I'm a little worried about our cornerbacks. I'm honestly really, really scared to see how that works out. We lost some people. Jalen Johnson's going to be there. Kyle Fuller's gone. Desmond Trufant's 35. So I'm worried about our defense. Our wide receiving core is fine. I like Mooney. I love Marquise Goodwin. I think he's a fine third. And A-Rob has gotten 1,000 yards basically every year since he's been with us with our messed up quarterback situation. So I think we've got a good offense, but it's our secondary I'm most worried about.
All right.
Let's get through these last 2 lightning fast, since these aren't really our teams. Panthers. How much do you trust Sam Darnold, Caedmon?
Little, but who knows? He had the Jets last year. That doesn't really say much.
Yeah. The Panthers are going to be a weird team. I feel bad for them. I think they're going to get absolutely crushed this year. You've got the Saints, the Bucks, and the Falcons team that can still beat you every now and then. Defense is fine. They got Hassan Reddick. They have C-Mac, who's going to be healthy. I don't know. It's going to be a weird team, and I think they need to take a little bit of the load off McCaffrey. Don't let him get injured and mess up my fantasy team again.
Yes.
Please.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. It's not nice. Next up, the Atlanta Falcons. What does their offense look like without Julio this year?
Their offense looks really sad. I mean, it's not.
Ouch!
Not really sad, but when you look at previous Falcons offenses, you're like, ooh, that's an electric offense. Now it's like, man, you got Calvin Ridley, who, hey, he's great, and he helped me a ton in fantasy football last year. And then you got Matt Ryan, who he is really good. He has really good stats, most years, but he just doesn't win. And that's his problem. He won 1 Super Bowl, right?
Made it to a Super Bowl.
You got 1.
Made it to a Super Bowl.
Okay, made it to 1.
1 MVP, made it to a Super Bowl.
That was really his, one of only 2, big years. He doesn't win. He has amazing stats, but he just doesn't win. And that's partly on the defense, but
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
The question was something about Julio. How
do they function without Julio? But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, whatever.
I think the biggest thing for them is I think this is going to be a weird year. They don't have a great cap situation, but losing Julio helped out with that. I think their secondary is going to be a little better than people give it credit for. They have A.J. Terrell, who's been incredible in training camp. Isaiah Oliver is good. Deion Jones, I think, is going to be good again. But I just feel like this is a weakened Falcons team They don't have the running back power. Mike Davis is good, but I don't know how he'll do behind a fine Falcons offensive line. Ridley's there. Gage is good, but then after that, they don't really have many people. Hayden Hurst is good, but Kyle Pitts is going to be a big addition. He can line up absolutely anywhere. Definitely, I think, fills in the role that Julio is going to miss. I think he gets a lot of red zone targets. And like you said, Ryan's been great. He hasn't had an under 4,000-yard season since 2010. That is a decade of 4,000-yard passing. Barely misses any games. But I just don't think the defense is going to be wide enough, especially stopping the running game to support him. And I don't think the offense is going to have the dynamics to support it, especially in a tough division where you get the New Orleans Saints. So, Caedmon, Taysom or famous Jameis? Who are you going with week 1?
Jameis. And you know why? Because, I mean, one reason is because I feel like Jameis is more of a quarterback. Taysom is like someone you can put as a, like, he could play tight end, running back, receiver. He's a special teams freak as well.
Yep.
You Taysom as a
gadget player. There you go.
You play Jameis as a quarterback until he's absolutely terrible and throwing 30 interceptions like he was with the Buccaneers a couple years ago. But you start with Jameis because I feel like he's more of a quarterback. He has a better arm. And I feel like under the right coach, which, hey, Bruce Arians might be the right one. I feel like he could be really
Sean
good.
Payton. Bruce Arians.
What am I saying? I was thinking Buccaneers first.
I got you.
Sean Payton might be the right one. I'm really hoping he is because I want to see Jameis do good, and I want to see Taysom Hill continue how he's been playing as a gadget player. He's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I think so too. Especially watching Taysom Hill play last year, he wasn't bad, but the team ran the ball so much. And granted, the Saints have the offensive line to support that. Let's not get that twisted. But just having Jameis just gives you an extra dynamic. He can scramble if he needs to. He has a rocket arm. You're still going to have Kamara. I don't know how Thomas is going to look. And just random thing, the Saints have one of the best-looking running back rooms in football. Alvin Kamara, my favorite backup, Latavius Murray. They got Ty Montgomery, who is a passing back just in case Kamara gets injured. And then they got Devonta Freeman just for the heck of it. And who knows how he's going to look. Wow. But, I mean, there are worse fourth-string options. So just wanted to point that out. But I think it really just determines on how Jameis adjusts to the offense. That's going to be the big thing. Can he elevate the wide receiver core that's a little bit lackluster outside of Michael Thomas? And I think their defense is going to be good again. So I agree with you. I think Jameis definitely number 1, adds a whole new dynamic to their offense. Zach in the comments says, it's AJ and Caedmon. Yes, it is. Good to see you, Zach. Thanks for joining us. Caedmon, it's Tampa.
Best team, Tampa.
They got literally everybody back.
All 22 starters.
What do they need to change anything?
No. And they got all 22 starters back. And they have literally pretty much everyone they had on doing all the special team stuff before. Yeah. They're literally the exact same team. Like all these guys took pay cuts so that they could all stay together. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, a bunch of guys on defense took pay cuts so that they could all stay together.
Yeah, and well, Godwin got tagged, but yeah, I know what you're saying. Brady restructured his contract too.
Yeah, right. And Brady played a lot of the season last year with a torn MCL.
Which was crazy.
That's ridiculous. He's won a Super Bowl. Yeah, he is the GOAT, no question. So is he's going to look better this year, I'm hoping, unless he's just too old, which I don't think the GOAT is yet. I think they're pretty assured they can at least get to the Super Bowl. But, I mean, there are a bunch of other teams this year, like the Packers. I mean, they might make it this year. So,
yeah.
I mean, they could land the exact same way.
Yeah, this team just needs to keep doing what they were doing near the end of the season. I would say maybe improve on the running game a little bit. They were 28th by the end of the year. I mean, and you've got Rojo, Leonard Fournette, an incredible offensive line, and Giovanni Bernard in case one of them goes down, which is a great addition. Gio did great even with a horrible Bengals offensive line last year. This, in my opinion, one of the best running back rooms, best wide receiver room in football, in my opinion. A ridiculously deep tight end roster, the GOAT quarterback. and a stupidly good defense.
Yeah.
Improve the run game just a little bit. That's my only critique for them. That's it. Yep. Caedmon, I know you absolutely think they're overrated. Cardinals. How do they not blow it like they did last year going down on a playoff run?
Kyler Murray is good, and he's good, but he's not super good yet. Like, he needs to. Okay, I don't want to disrespect Murray because he has a great arm and he can move, he can run.
Oh yeah,
but I feel like he's just not taken the whole leadership yet, the whole leadership role yet that a lot of quarterbacks take. So that's one thing, and then. I mean, Kyler Murray's amazing, but you gotta get more receivers that Murray can rely on. And I mean, like, I don't know. I think they're gonna fade, man. I'm sorry. I think they're gonna fade.
A.J. Green can't do anything,
especially in such a good division. This was the best overall division in football. So you got Seahawks, 49ers, Rams. In my opinion, I mean, Seahawks and Rams are both better than the Cardinals, and the 49ers could be just as good this year. I don't trust the Cardinals.
Wow, really tore them down there. I think the big thing is the division they're in. Seahawks twice, Rams twice, Niners healthy twice. That's brutal. I think the running back room is fine. Chase Edmonds, James Conner, wide receiving core, Hopkins, obviously. Christian Kirk, Andy Isabella, A.J. Green, fine. Offensive line, I think, is great. Murray's good. I don't know how their tight end situation is going to be. Defense is good. I think this is a really good team that gets the unfortunate thing of just getting an absolutely brutal division to play in. You're going to have to go up against some of the best teams 6 times this year. 6 times. Absolutely crazy. Season's going to be even longer. I mean, they don't have the hardest schedule in the world. They're in beginning of the season.
The Packers
Titans, Vikings, Jaguars. That is so much easier than it could be for any other team. They get to play the Cowboys this year. They get to play the Lions this year. I think they definitely have a chance to make it, but it's going to be tough.
Yep.
It's going to be real tough.
All right, man.
Caedmon, 49ers, They have to do better than last year, right? There's no way everybody gets into
last year they were dealing with a Super Bowl hangover or curse or whatever you call it. And, I mean, they don't really need to change anything. They're going to be great this year because they're not going to be dealing with that curse or hangover or whatever you call it. And there's no way they get that many injuries. Like, that was unheard of. Pretty much, because they have a great defense when they're all healthy, and they have a good offensive line if they don't have to change it every game. And Jimmy G.
And they got Trent Williams for 6 years, locked him up.
And that's a big deal. And Jimmy G, he can be really good. I mean, he took him to the Super Bowl, but also I'm looking forward to their run game. Like, I feel like their run game can be really dominant if it's all healthy. I don't know, AJ, what do you think?
Yeah. Man, I think the 49ers are going to be a weird team. A lot of their offense isn't the same as when they went to the Super Bowl. It's only Ayuk and Debo left for the most part. And while they're good, I don't know how Garoppolo's going to do with Trey Lance behind him. I don't know when you start him. I think Raheem Mostert is great when healthy. They have Kyle Juszczyk, best fullback in football, which is good. Great defense. I think they could make a playoff run, but I don't see him going very far in the playoffs, Cade.
All right, man. 2 teams left. And I pick the Rams. Yeah. All right, the Rams, are they capable of making a Super Bowl this year? AJ's not here for some strange reason, so I'll ask myself, Caedmon, are the Rams capable of making the Super Bowl this year? Yes, they are. Man, their defense is crazy. And, I mean, their offense, Matt Stafford, hey, I don't know. He was with the Lions. I've watched a million games of Packers-Lions, and he didn't seem all that good. But, hey, you know what? I could be wrong. And Stafford could have an electric season. First, I don't know. Their receiving core is good enough. I mean, Cooper Kupp is so underrated. And their run game should be pretty good this year. And like I said, their defense is maybe the best. So, all right, we got AJ back. AJ, I think you heard most of it.
I heard. I got all of it. I think this is a team that can challenge for a Super Bowl. They have, like you said, arguably the best defense in the league. Leonard Floyd, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey. This team is stacked. Like you said, Woods, Cup, Tyler Higgins.
Okay, so you heard it from AJ, or I don't know if you heard it, but we'll go to our last team unless AJ has anything else to say.
Sorry, when did I cut out?
You were not clear the whole time. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I mean, we heard a little bit of Donald, Floyd.
Okay,
stacked, and that's when you disappeared.
Thank you. Stacked defense, very good offense. Losing Cam Akers for the year is going to hurt really bad. But Darrell Henderson Jr. was fine in a replacement, and Matthew Stafford, I think, is going to have a great year. This was a perennial 4,000-plus yard thrower with Calvin Johnson and then Kenny defense in one of the toughest divisions in football for nearly a decade. I think that this Rams team can challenge for a Super Bowl.
For real. I think so, too. All right, man. Last team.
Final team. I know you love Russell Wilson.
I love Russell Wilson.
What do the Seahawks need to do, kid?
Dude, the Seahawks have Tyler Lockett, who is so underrated after DK Metcalf came. But, you know, they're two great receivers, and Chris Carson is a really underrated running back. I noticed it because he really carried a lot of the weight in a couple of my teams for fantasy football. He was really great. So I'm hoping he does that again because I think I'm drafting him. Their defense, you know what? I'm not sure because I could see them, if everything goes right, I could see them being really good, but I could also see their secondary being really bad. And, I mean, their defense does have some obvious holes, but I feel like there are things they could fix, and I feel like the players they have could be a lot better than they played last year. So I think their offense is going to be good enough, and Russell Wilson's a top-tier quarterback, and I think it's just their defense needs to fix those holes.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. The Seahawks defense, I think there were two things that led to the Seahawks downfall last year. One, their defense was a mess. And then two, their inconsistency on offense. First half of the season, all Russell Wilson. Let Russ cook trended on Twitter everywhere. Okay. Second half of the season, let's only run the football and barely let Russell throw it. There was just an inconsistency on what kind of offense the Seahawks wanted to run. And I think that kind of led to their detriment down the end of the season because Russell didn't throw it nearly as much. Seahawks didn't throw it deep nearly as much as they did near the end of the season. And they lost more games. By the time they got to the playoffs, they're off their form and got an early exit. I think they need to establish what kind of team they are early in the season. I think they need a better run-pass balance because they have a great roster with Lockett and Carson and Wilson and Metcalf. Yeah. Establish what kind of team you are early in the season. That is what I think the Seahawks. That's what I think the Seahawks need to do, because they can outscore you if they need to, but only if their offense is working at peak efficiency.
All right,
there you have it, everybody. That's the entire NFC. Nothing else here. We'll do the AFC and probably make it shorter. We know this is a long one, but if you're here, thanks for checking in with us. We're not as attached to a lot of the AFC teams as well.
No.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Caedmon, anything else you want to say?
Nope.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go do an NBA video. Be sure to go check that out. We'll see you next time on the one and only Allied Rivals podcast. What do you think your team needs to do? Let us know in the comments down below, as long as any other ideas that you have for us to make videos about. Also, we have a big announcement coming soon. Definitely want to be subscribed with notifications on for that. We will see you guys next time on the one and only Allied Rivals podcast. Have a good one, everybody.
See ya.